Perfect. My name's Lewis Howes. For those who don't know me, I just want to share a quick story about how becoming an authority blogger, like building an authority blog, what it does for your life and your business. A few years ago, I read a book called Pro Blogger. Garrett was the co-author with Darren Rouse. And this was early when I was trying to figure out everything about blogging. I think it was early to mid 2008 when I started my first blog. And I was searching around for 6 months, reading all the information online. I was reading Chris's blog, a few other blogs out there. And I was trying to figure out what a lot of people want to figure out, how to make money with the blog and how to really build a lifestyle around having an authority business. And I think a lot of you on here are probably here because you want to build a bigger business. You want to have a better lifestyle. You want to make more money. You want to be able to do it in your home or anywhere in the world. And I think that's one of the reasons why you're probably on here. Who on here, let me just ask a quick question before I let Chris speak the rest of the time. Who on here considers himself an authority blogger and makes 6 figures a year blogging? And there's a number of different business models, obviously, when it comes to blogging. It doesn't have to be just from writing content. Chris is going to talk about his system and his different business models through authority blog. Who on here is currently doing that, making 6 figures? Go ahead and type your answers in the question section. I'm seeing some people say not 6 figures, but a good living. Not me. Authority blogger, yes, but not making any money. To be a 5-figure blogger, I don't blog. Unfortunately not. That's the plan. No way, not me. 6 figures. I wish. Working on it, just starting. Okay. It looks like a lot of you, that's what you want. You want to make your blogging. And for me, my blog over the last couple of years has given me multiple 6 figures. And I've got different business models that I use on my blog, whether it be speaking, consulting, selling products, doing webinars, and leveraging affiliate marketing, email marketing, things like that. So I have a couple of different business models that I use for my blog. I wouldn't even consider myself one of the top 1,000 bloggers in the world or top 50,000 bloggers probably, but I'm still able to create an authority blogging business where I have multiple 6 figures coming in each year now in about a 2.5-year window. It's definitely possible. And if I can do it, then anyone can do it. Before Chris goes, shares all this great information. He is one of the first people that I was really attracted to a couple of years ago when I started out. His book changed my entire mindset and gave me the ideas and the focus. And then just getting to know him over time, we worked together on projects, getting my own coaching from him really helped take my business to the next level from where I was originally sleeping on my sister's couch to now being able to travel the world and do whatever I want. Chris is really one of the great coaches, in my opinion, when it comes to building an authority business through your blog. I really hope everyone enjoys this webinar and this presentation. He's going to blow you away with some great strategies, tips, systems, and at the very end, to share with you how you can get access to his coaching as well. So without that, I'll let Chris take it away because I know he's got a lot to cover in a short amount of time. Hopefully everyone gets the pen and paper out, pays attention, and enjoys the webinar.
Thank you very much, Lewis. And I call Lewis Superman because he's the exact opposite of me. He's this huge, handsome American football type. I'm this little shy, fat guy. But Lewis has been a huge influence on me as well. He needs to take a small amount of credit for his success. It's not all my doings. Monetization methods. That's what Lewis was talking about. There are dozens and dozens of ways to monetize a blog. Some of them work well. Some of them are just confusing. Some of them are just crazy, don't work. Some of them are ill-advised. One of those on there, selling text links, will get you nuked by Google. So, a good idea. But if you want to see all the possible monetization methods and confuse yourself, go to problogger.net/moneymap and have fun. I wouldn't advise it, personally. What we're going to talk about today is making money from your authority blog. Making money because you blog, not necessarily directly from your blog. So we're not talking about advertising. We're not talking about AdSense. We're not talking about getting paid to send people away. Building your authority so that people come to you, seek you out, you become the trusted advisor. Once you get the trusted advisor status in your niche, opportunities open up, the income opens up, and things become so much easier. It starts with discovering the problems of your niche and solving them. So already that's different to a lot of business models. A lot of online business models are focused around search traffic with thin or junk content in the hope that you get some eyeballs and clicks. That's not a sustainable business model. In fact, Google just mute most of the people doing that. They're called content farms. So you can get great traffic purely by serving search, but that's vanity if you don't make an income. And if you make an income from junk content, junk traffic, then expect to have it taken away from you. This model is about actually helping people. It's about creating an environment where you're the go-to person in your niche, the trusted advisor. It starts with understanding the problems of your niche and solving them. So ask yourself, is your blog solving problems? Is it really helping people? Is it genuinely valuable? Because if you really help people, you're going to be able to make a better income, and you're actually going to be able to look people in the eye. You're not ripping people off. You're not spamming. You're actually doing a real service to your community. That's the core of it. That's the first thing I want you to take away. I could go through dozens of different business models, authority business models, and in my course, I go through all of them, but we've got a limited amount of time, so I'm just going to focus on 5 different ways you can make $1,000 a month. And I'm not saying that's the threshold. You can make more than that. But this is the way you can make $1,000 a month from your authority blog. The first one is freelancing. And why do I include freelancing? It's the fastest route to making an income. If you need to make some income now, and you don't have a list, you don't have an authority, but you have some knowledge or experience or skills, then you can do freelancing. The secret to freelancing, though, is the best gigs are never advertised. What does that mean? It means you start out on the job boards. Then you can graduate to networking. But once you've built your authority, your status and your credibility, the work comes to you. That's when the lucrative and fun projects come in. I started my own business in 2005 with a freelancing contract. And that contract covered most of my bills, most of my outgoings. So I knew from that contract, I could go solo, I could start my own business. And that's how I left my cushy day job. Fortunately for me, I didn't have to go straight into the job boards and start pitching for work. I'd actually built up a bit of a reputation so that the work came to me. This gig that allowed me to leave my job and start my own business was tailor-made for me because it was a combination of technical geek, writer and project manager. It was the perfect job for me. And it was almost a 6-figure contract. And that was because of the reputation of Bill. But we all start somewhere. We all start with a small job. What you have to do is build your reputation, build your visibility, build your status as somebody who knows what they're doing and can help. So you can start on job boards like the ProBlogger job board and work up from that. Build the portfolio, build the case studies. So how much can you make from freelancing? So this is the freelancing math, if you like. If you want to make $1,000 a month and your hourly rate is $25, then you need to work 40 hours. Make sense? The more you can put your rate up, the more your credibility grows, the more your reputation grows, the more you become that person that people refer and turn to, the fewer hours you can work or the more money you can make. You get up to the $125 an hour mark, which is not unusual for designers, writers, programmers. You can do a day's work and make $1,000. My current rate for consulting was based on ramping up my freelancing rate over time. So you don't go straight in and say, okay, I'm $500 an hour. You start off with a rate that is going to be acceptable to the market and you put the prices up as people take your hours. The problem is you are selling your hours and lots of people think, okay, I want to make this much money a month. I'll divide that up and that's how many hours I need to work. But you forget sometimes that you have to work on the business admin, the accounts and things like that. Also, you have to market the business because while you're working on a contract, you need to be looking for your next one. So there is a limit to the number of hours you can work. There's a threshold to what you can charge, but you can make a lifestyle business around freelancing because in most cases, you've got a lot of control over your schedule. You can pick and choose. Once you get to that status where the work is coming to you, people are seeking you out, you can pick and choose who you work with, the projects you work on. The lady who's just done my new blog design, which will be coming soon, Reese, people go to her and actually she's got a waiting list. That's the situation you want to get into. But freelancing is, when people say to me, I need to make some money very quickly, freelancing is what I suggest. If you haven't got a list, if you haven't got that big reputation right now, then freelancing is a way that you can make some money fast. The problem is you are selling your hours, so there is a limit to that. The next step up from freelancing, and this is what I did, as soon as I started my own business, I started consulting. Freelancing is doing stuff for people. It is creating, it is doing some work. Consulting is where you advise. And as I said before, I'm going to focus on a few categories here. But under consulting, I would include coaching. I love doing coaching. I love seeing the results for people, helping people reach their goals. And with consulting and coaching, the fees are all dependent on how much people believe you can do for them, what they're going to get out of it. So I always suggest to people, when you start doing consulting, any kind of advisory work, any service like that, try to make the work its own marketing. And I've got an example. When I do blog critiques, I give people the option of having it public or private. Private means I can get into confidential stuff. Public means they get some traffic and exposure. As soon as I do a critique, 4 or 5 people say, I like the critique you did, as soon as I'd like you to do that for me, please. And I'll say, fair enough, it's $250. What you get also, though, is when people are really impressed, when people are really happy with what you've done for them, what you can get is that advocacy, that word of mouth. And what Chris did that was really nice for me, he credited me with the launch of his blog and the growth of his blog in his content. So thousands of people suddenly thought, it worked for Chris Gillibo. Look at what he's doing now. Maybe this Chris Garrett guy knows what he's talking about. I'll have one too. So obviously it wasn't all thousands actually pulled the trigger and had the money at the time. But you can see how that built my reputation. If you can get people results, it's not bragging. It's telling the truth. Try to show the results that you get, and then your contracts will grow. The income will grow, and people start seeking you out as somebody who can get results, who can make changes for people. So what can consulting do for people? What can sharing your expertise do? This is Mary, an expert in both the singer-songwriter world and the business-to-business world. The consulting work can be worth thousands, and she's built an authority blog in the music world. She's meeting Grammy-nominated producers, and that's because her reputation is growing in those two spaces. Consulting can be worth thousands, but you can start off by charging per telephone call, charge by the hour for telephone calls. So I've worked up to $300 an hour now, but remember, it's not just the hour you spend on the telephone. It's also the preparation time, looking into people's problems and projects, the email interactions and the follow-up. So don't just bill out your hours at your hourly rate. Also consider the extra time that you put into it. And if you're going to meet people face-to-face, there's travel time and expenses as well, obviously. So those two are fairly obvious. They're the things that people turn to straight away. I find speaking and training to be a fabulous way of generating income. There are various levels to speaking and training. The first is doing free speaking. Next is where you get a ticket to the show, the conference, and maybe some expenses. You might get your hotel, your travel. You might even get a per diem where you can pay for meals. The next level is where you're paid. And obviously, once you start getting paid for speaking, the sky's the limit. But the first two also can be very lucrative because you're getting in front of an audience. Even if you're just building your visibility and authority, as a person who's on that stage, who's been invited to speak, that can be a great thing. Every time I speak at a conference, my list grows. When I did Blog World, I didn't make any sort of call to action, and 800 people or more were added to my list because of the speaking. And I haven't got time to go into exactly how you can encourage that, but be aware that the more visible you are, the more people are going to seek you out. The next step up is you can make offers. So if you do on the stage make an offer, or if you through a webinar make an offer, a percentage of people are going to be ready to take the next step. They're going to want to take action, and they're going to buy into the offer. If you make it a great offer, more people will do that. So by doing free speeches, you can actually make a lot of money. But you don't have to have a high fee. You can actually make an offer and sell your products or services. And when I network at conferences, when people ask me after the conference, that also works out really well, because that's how I get coaching clients. People ask me questions, I give them an answer, and we can sort that out. Speaking is a great way for people to get to know you, to build a relationship with you, to understand where you're coming from. They get your humor because they can hear you, they can hear the inflection in your voice. If they can see you, they can see your body language. And it helps build that connection, and people are much more likely to want to work with you if they know, like, and trust you. Again, it's about building authority. Steve Cloyd, a client of Lewis and I for the Magnetic Webinar series, did a 60-minute presentation and made $5,700 in sales on his first presentation. Not a bad result. Imagine doing one of these every month. You could do 20% of what he did and make $1,000 every month. What can you get? Speaking rates wise, when you're starting out, do whatever speaking you can get just for the practice, just so you can get good at it. Once you start charging, you can charge $500 for a workshop, $500 for a speech. If it's a keynote, you can charge more. As you become more of a trusted advisor, as you build your authority, you can put your prices up even further. Once you get to a little bit of celebrity status, the sky's the limit. So if you're a former president, you're going to be able to charge $100,000. If you're J.K. Rowling, you're going to be able to charge $1,000. Chris Brogan can charge $22,000 for the day. I can't charge $22,000 per day, but I can charge several thousand. The most I've charged is in the thousands, but it's still a really good payday. If you can make in a day what some people struggle to make in a month, I think that's worth pursuing. It all comes from building your visibility, being a credible person by having something to offer, something that's a real solution, real interest to people, something that ties into what your niche really wants right now. So you have to keep it fresh. You have to build your practice. You have to network, and you have to grow your visibility as somebody who's got something to offer, something credible. So the more authority you've got, the more you can charge, but get practicing, get out there speaking. Even if it's to a local chamber of commerce, you'll build connections, get better at it, more polished, and people will start seeking you out because you're offering them valuable information. This is the one most people turn to, the one that most people think about when they think about making money online. It is great because all of the others depend on you being there in person. They depend on you selling your hours. If you can make money by the customer, make money by the sale, that's much more scalable. And again, there's various categories of information products. You can sell other people's for a commission, which is affiliate marketing, or you can sell your own. If it wasn't for information product sales, I would have gone bankrupt a few times when there was family medical issues, because When you have a family medical issue, even if you've got a national health service, you're spending a lot of time where you can't work because you want to be with your family. This was what kept my income ticking over and paying my bills. It's not just a boost to your lifestyle. It's also a safety net. It's semi-passive, because if you stop promoting, if you stop creating, if you stop growing your visibility and your traffic, then the traffic will tail off, therefore your sales will tail off. We all get that. But I was fortunate that I was living in the UK when the family medical issues were recurring. If I was living in a place where we had to pay for healthcare, it would have been a disaster. So this income would have been even more important. You package your knowledge and experience into content that people really want. And that's one of the mistakes people make. They try to serve Google. Don't serve Google, serve your audience. They create a product that nobody wants. Get frustrated and say the business model doesn't work. But what it is, you're creating something that nobody has a want or a need for. Instead, you go to your audience who you've already started building a relationship with and say, what are your current challenges right now? What are your biggest challenges right now? And you find out what they really need. If you don't have an audience, then you have to do some research and spy on your community. And there's a process to it, but it basically comes down to, what does my community really want? What can I help with? What do I have credible experience doing? So don't say how to make $1 million if you haven't made $1 million. What you do is you say, okay, what have I done? I managed to get 10,000 email subscribers, or 5,000 email subscribers, or 1,000. And create a product about how to get your first 1,000 subscribers. Don't think, I have to fake it until I make it, because that's actually going to be a disaster. You have to really understand your audience, but they also have to make a connection with you. And everybody has got a built-in BS detector. People actually prefer you have a focused product about their real want or need that solves a problem. And you know what? If you actually create something that gets them results, then they're going to come back for more. And isn't that a much more pleasurable experience than churning and burning, selling something rubbish that doesn't do anybody any good to trying to get that fast buck? The long-term relationship building business, where, you know, they grow to trust you even more and become advocates, that's what you really want. We're not all Darren Rouse, but I love this quote he had on Twitter. My accountant just rang, her exact words after seeing the last couple of months of ebook sales. Darren, have you robbed a bank? Darren's awesome, and he's got thousands of subscribers, but it shows even from, and Darren's ebooks are not expensive, even from low-cost ebook, he's making an absolute fortune. But what about the rest of us? If you can get 100 visitors a day to an offer about a $35 product with a 1% conversion rate, you can make one sale a day. So one sale a day is $35 a day, which is $1,050 a month. Do you think you can get 100 visitors a day? Most people can get 100 visitors a day. And most people can actually grow that significantly. For those people who said, I'm not currently getting 100 visitors a day, can you get 50 visitors a day? Because if you can put the conversion rate up to 2%, that means 2 out of every 100 people buy, then you've got an opportunity to make $35 a day, which is $1,050 a month. But if you can get 100 people a day to look at an offer and 2% of them convert, that's 2 sales a day, $70 a day. That's $2,100 a month.
Hey, Chris.
Hi.
Can I chime in real quick and just
You
add
can,
to that?
yes.
I've got a LinkedIn ebook that I don't really promote that hard. It's just on a tab on my blog, to be honest, guys. A lot of you probably get more traffic than me, or maybe around the same amount. I think an average of 7,500 or 8,000 niche hits a month on my personal site. I have another site that gets more, but my personal blog, my authority blog that brings in multiple 6 figures, gets around 8,000 visitors. So it's really not that much traffic, but I'm getting probably, I don't know, anywhere between $300 and $500 a month for my ebook sales. But my LinkedIn ebook, that's $20. I don't ever promote it. It's just on a tab. I get however many hits a day, but I'm probably converting 1% to 2%. Few hundred extra bucks a month on autopilot. It's definitely worth having. You don't need a ton of traffic, but obviously the more traffic you get, the more money you make.
Thank you. It's a great example. A couple of people have said they have a difficulty hearing. So can you just let me know if you can hear me right now? And I'll continue. Excellent. Thank you. I was a bit worried because sometimes it's your connection, sometimes it's mine. Most people came back and said, I believe I can get 100 visitors a day, or I can get 50 visitors a day. And there are traffic techniques, there are conversion rate techniques, but very quickly I can show people how to get 1% to 2% conversion rate. I am not the world's best salesperson, but I'm very good at generating leads, even though Lewis is in a different market altogether in terms of being able to pitch and sell. I can still make a good income because I can generate enough leads that my conversion rates don't have to be super fantastic. I've coached people to have better conversion rate. You do your first step, create your sales page, and then there are testing techniques to build up that conversion rate. For example, my product, Make More Progress, I have been testing various things, different headlines, different buttons, everything about the different pages. I went into a forum and lots of people gave me advice. For a giggle, I put all of their advice into my tests, and every single thing they recommended dropped my conversion rate. So there's two lessons. One, you cannot create a sales page via committee. And two, lots of the things that people think they don't like about sales pages actually do work. So you might not like some of the sales pages, but don't knock it until you've tried it. So personal taste has to go out of the window. And secondly, don't ask people who aren't making money how to make money online. They use their own personal preferences and biases rather than what's going to help you make sales. If you can get 100 visitors a day at 2% conversion rate, what does that add up to a year? $25,000 to 100 if my math's correct. And remember, that's from one product. Do you think you could create more than one product in a year? I have a rapid product creation process that allows me to create a product in under a week. And I'm not talking about a shabby product, a product that is very well received and created entirely around the needs of that market. So if you can create a good product in a week, I'm not talking about a big ticket product, but a product that's very focused on the wants and needs of your audience that would sell at $35 or above, then you could be making a lot more money than that. But you have to start somewhere. And that's why I'm setting this at an achievable level. I don't want to say, do this and you can get a Learjet and Lamborghini. I'm saying, let's set the bar at a reasonable height and make progress. Finally, the last business model before I get into the process. Continuity. Continuity is associated with membership sites. So what continuity is where you bill somebody every month or for several months. That might be gym memberships. It might be something that you think about, book of the month club, or it might be membership sites like this. The fact is, continuity, at its most simple, you can go into PayPal and create a subscription button. In return for that subscription, you could give somebody a monthly call. The coaching clients who come through my site, who don't go through a structured program, who just want to tap my brain several times a month, and go into a PayPal button, a subscription, very easy to do. So what could you do for somebody every single month? Chris Brogan has just done a $10 a month newsletter, and he's got several hundred people in it, so he's making a decent income.
Hey, Chris.
Hi.
I think you might have paused your screen. That's the slides, the FYI.
Yeah, so can you see?
Perfect.
Chris Brogan has done a newsletter, that's $10 a month. He's got several hundred people in it. Third Tribe, I think it started out as $47 a month. I don't know what it is now. And they've got several thousand people in it. Do the math. The sky is the limit. I know 3 or 4 people who have membership sites and masterminds that are thousands of dollars a month per person. I know one lady who charges 6 figures a year for her mastermind. But you can start really small. And continuity just means that you're billing them every month. So think back to the last thing where we're doing an information product and making X number of sales a month. What if you could get these people to come back every single month? So you make the sale once, and that's income every month. Say your price is only $17 a month, and you can get one person to buy every single day. That's $510 after the first month. If you can keep those people interested, and then you can add a person a day, you're making $1,020 every month after your second month. The traffic and conversion rates don't have to be fantastic to get one sale a day. In the third month, if you can keep them and add one person a day, you're getting $1,500, and then it goes on $2,040. Now, obviously, at some point, inevitably, you're going to lose some people. But you can work out where to attract more of these people. You can increase your conversion rate. Get into crazy numbers. This is a $17 a month membership. You can see the compounding effect of continuity. The more people you can keep in, the more people you can get in the front door, the more money you're going to make. And it's a predictable monthly income that scales. And it's just as passive, or more so, if you set it up right. You can drip out content you've already created. So once you get to month 6, you're only creating one more month of content, one new call, one new mastermind, one new newsletter. You can drip out the previous 6 months. So when people join, they don't get everything at once. They just get what they're ready for today. So don't think you're having to make masses of content. You only have to be ahead of your first member. So what can you do? You can do teleseminars, you can do webinars, and you can put the recordings in. You can have those transcribed, and then they become ebooks. You can do interviews. So if you haven't got the content in your head, interview a new expert every month. I am a member of a site, and all he does is he reviews books and summarizes them. Because if you haven't got time to read all these great books you keep hearing about, he'll tell you the ones that you should take interest in and the key facts that you need to take away from them. So it's another thing that's actually quite achievable if you've got that visibility and authority in your market. Really, the sky's the limit. You don't have to price it at $17. Lots of memberships out there are $50 or above. So what do I do? Very simply, I do all of the above. All of those are ways that you can make $1,000 a month. But you can do a combination. And actually, it's really nice to do a combination, and it creates more of an effect where you become the trusted advisor because you're giving people help in the way that they want it. I don't do as much now building websites as I used to, but I still do it. I do a lot more coaching now. I don't do as much face-to-face consulting since I left the UK because all of those clients are thousands of miles away. But I still do all of the above. And that's how I create an income. That's how my income's protected. I don't have to worry about what Google's going to do next with their search results because I've got an audience who knows, likes, and trusts me, who turns to me when they're ready for some help. My coaching clients come to me. My consulting clients come to me. I don't have to do pictures. I don't have to do proposals. People are seeking me out because I've positioned myself in my market as somebody who can help. You start by doing stuff, freelancing, contracting, and then you might supervise, project manage a team, be the leader rather than the doer. And you'll see that each step you're becoming less of a commodity, more of a unique go-to person. And you go to advising and consulting, and you might do teaching, speaking, and coaching. When you've got surplus income, you can invest in other people doing the work. You invest in somebody managing those people doing the work. You start building your team. And that's the situation where lots of my friends are at now. Darren Rouse and Chris Brogan, they're hiring people so they can scale it even further because they've got to the top of the heap. But you start by work up each of the steps. So you can make income at each level, but as you go up, as your authority grows, you can make greater income for doing less effort and less hours. So here's one of my star pupils who started out, he had 84 email subscribers. Basically, after 60 days, he'd got 1,300 subscribers, and now he's got 6,721 and makes 6 figures a year. And how has he done that? He's done it exactly the way I've talked about. The process is exactly what I've been outlining. He does social media for non-profits who are not well known for being big spenders, actually. But he does everything from consulting and coaching and speaking and teaching through to building a Facebook page. He picks and chooses the projects now where he works in non-profit because he really believes in non-profit. He didn't go into it just purely for the money. Very quickly, he was able to give up his job and do it full time, and he absolutely loves it. You can tell the passion just comes through from John. So what do you need? If you're still listening, you want to do all this stuff. What do you need? You need a target audience. You need to identify a need in that target audience. A lot of people get this wrong. You have to give people what they need, but packaged in what they want. In most cases, people would rather buy something they want than something they need. If anybody's ever tried to sell insurance, you'll understand people are much more likely to buy that donut than they are to buy that treadmill. And more likely to purchase what they want than they need. But if you want people to get results, if you want to have case studies that show you've got an effective solution, like the testimonials I've shown you, you need to give them what they really need as well. So you get their attention with what they want, but you absolutely have to get them to take action with what they need. So you need a list. Very difficult to get people to buy on the first visit. I don't have a list for one of my products, and I've managed to make sales just by tweeting it out. But you're not going to get a flood of people. And a lot of people need to see your offer multiple times. I've been running the Authority Blogger program since 2007. Every single time it's sold out. But I also have people that say, yeah, I heard about this last year. I didn't take action, so I'm joining this year early. And wow, they've been with me all this time, but they're just taking action now. So you need that list so you can build that long-term relationship. That's another key, long-term relationships. And build your authority. What does authority mean in this case? It means that Google's going to trust you, and Google trust is very important if you want to get search traffic. In fact, it's as important as the links you can get. So lots of search engine optimization people will tell you that links are important, but trust is just important. So Google authority is based off human authority. If people know, like, and trust you, then Google's going to give you the benefit of the doubt. So you need authority so that you become the go-to person, so that people seek you out, so that you don't have to be actively selling, so people want your solutions that you're offering. So the basics. If you haven't got a funnel, and this is a funnel on the screen, you need one. Starting today, you need one to build your email list and get people into that email list. My very basic page for the Authority blog, I've copied and pasted the code from Aweber into a page, converted at 55%. So that's from visit to signing up. Over half of people signed up. So if you get 1,000 people to visit that page, you get 500 subscribers. The next thing you do is get them to buy something. We're missing out some steps that add to all this. This isn't an authority list. All it is a list that you can get sales from. If you're not doing this now, you're missing sales. You're missing your income. Capture the attention and convert it. But obviously, there's more. The ARC system, attraction, retention, and conversion. That's when you go from the old style funnel system and actually start building a relationship. And we want relationships. We want to be that trusted advisor. We want to be the authority. People focus just on attraction and conversion. They get people to take notice and they try to sell them right away. No, stop it. There's the steps people are missing out, even gurus. You see these big launches and then they disappear for the rest of the year. Where have they gone? Oh, that guy's back. He's got something to sell. We see it. Everybody sees it. They're not fooling anybody. Even the gurus do this. Attract people, retain that interest, then sell them something that really works. Build that relationship so they know and trust you. Then you'll get referrals, you'll get advocates, which brings new people in. They attract friends, they bring friends. People call it a viral effect. It's not a viral effect. It's people talking to people. Forget about metrics. Forget about traffic. We're talking about people. You attract people in. You make them happy. You get those results and they'll tell friends, they'll bring friends. That's the authority process. It's not about funnels. It's not about scamming people. It's about giving people real solutions, treating them as human beings. That's when you get the trusted advisor status. You sell more because people trust you. I've had people actually buy my stuff as a thank you. I've had people buy it despite the sales page saying, if it was anybody else's sales page, I wouldn't be buying right now, but I trust you. Yes. That's how bad some of my sales design is. I'm not a designer. It reduces refunds because you're getting people results, they trust you and they don't have buyer's remorse. You get better case studies, they're getting results. They like you, they want to give you the case study. You get insights because people talk to you, treating people as a human being. You've built a relationship, so people want to talk to you. They go out of their way to tell you how well they're doing with the stuff you've given them. I get emails all the time saying, this has been great. I want to tell you about my news. It's wonderful. And that's the reward I get from doing it. And it creates advocates. People want to give you a testimonial. They want to tell friends. They want to be an affiliate. Trusted advisors are the people that the market seeks out, the people that are talked about, the people that get referrals. That's where you want to be. You don't want to be just one person with a product. You want to be a person that is trusted to be the solution provider. So 10 steps. This is the authority. Hi.
Hey, really quick, sorry to jump in here, but I just want to let everyone know that, again, I watched this presentation last night after I went over it with Chris. This is a very important 10-step process that Chris is going to share with you. So make sure everyone clicks on the bottom right-hand corner of webinar video player, makes this full screen, turns off any other distractions, and listens to the next few minutes, because this is the information you need to really build your business with your authority blog. So make sure you pay attention to this. It's very important. And I want everyone to be 100% attentive during this time. Go ahead, Chris.
Thank you, Lewis. So this is the 10-step process. The first step, the step that most people miss out, they go headlong into creating a blog. You have to develop what your goals are. How are you going to get your authority? Because it's going to be unique to you. You're going to choose from the tactics and the strategies, and it's going to be unique to you. You have to have the right mindset. You have to develop your strategy. You don't start with the blog. You start with you. You start with who you're serving, how you're going to get your authority. You have to start with what you're in it for. I always tell people, don't become famous. Become famous to the right people. Grow your visibility to the market, to the people who you're trying to serve. Fame is fleeting and superficial. What you want is to be the trusted advisor. You're not going out telling people, I'm the expert. People should be pointing at you saying, he's an expert, she's an expert. So you've got to have the right mindset. You've got to have the right strategy. Step 2. You've got to really understand your niche and how you can position yourself and brand yourself within that niche. You want to be the go-to person. You want to be an authority. Not only the authority, but an authority. You're going to attract the audience for you, your unique audience. So you really need to understand your positioning and your branding. What is the advantage of working with you or listening to you? You've really got to get into your niche and become so fluent in that niche that you can read minds. Then you have to create a sticky blog and launch it effectively. A sticky blog is one that people come back to. How many blogs have you seen where you only visit once? You might go away without reading anything, or you might read an article and think, okay, that was good. You never come back. You've got to create a blog with stickiness. That's how you get the compounding effect of audience. You get people coming back and you get them bringing friends and you get talked about, you get shared. So you need to create a sticky blog, not a blog that's set up purely for search traffic. Search traffic's good if you can retain a lot of those people. Social media traffic is good if you can retain a lot of those people. And then you have to create compelling content. Content that solves a problem, that interests people, that gets shared, that's a resource, that gets bookmarked. It's not about churning out content. It's not about 500-word forgettable articles. It's not about ripping off somebody else's content or copy and pasting or rewording press releases. You have to create compelling, unique, valuable content in your tone of voice based on your history, anecdotes, your stories. Tell stories that have value. And then you have to network. No blog is an island. You've got to engage your community. You've got to be well known as a valuable member of your niche. You want to be the person people want to have in their network, the person people want to connect to. You have to be building a positive reputation. You need those connections. You need to be helping other people. You need to show that you're a good member of your community. And you need to grow your traffic the right ways. You need good quality traffic. You don't need as much traffic as somebody who sells advertising, who gets advertising clicks, because you're not getting traffic to send people away. You're getting visitors, human beings, and you're building a relationship with them. They come back, they build loyalty, they build trust, they engage with you. If you've heard of the 1,000 True Fans, that's what we're talking about. If you're becoming the person people want to connect to, they're going to come back. So it's about building the visibility in the right way, the positive, value-based, beneficial visibility, not just raw traffic. We're not talking about numbers. You get them onto an email list that people want to subscribe to and stay on. They want to anticipate that it's going to be a good place to hang out, to appear in the inbox, and they're not just going to be barraged with spam and had sale. So it's about list building. It's about list building the right way, about building that relationship. As Sonia Simone from Coffee Blogger says, it's marketing that people don't want to throw away. And this isn't for everybody, but you can build great authority offline that builds your online and vice versa. So I'm terrified when I speak on stage, but I do it because it builds great networking, great authority, great visibility, and it allows people to see me face to face, shake the hand, and get to know me, and I get to know them. So when I hang out at conferences, understand I am going to be terrified, but it still works really well. The Pro Blogger book opened so many doors, especially in traditional media. All those things were tactical decisions on my part, and some of them I did despite my fear. But it works really well. You don't have to do it, but it can really rocket your progress. But then you need to make some money, right? So you have to develop services, you have to develop products, and you have to be able to convert those visitors. You have to do the correct sales copywriting where people don't think you're a sleaze, but people take you up on their offer. Yes, product launches. Yes, sales copywriting. But those ongoing sales are where the real advantage is. That's when people buy all the time.